Viewers to another edition of Focus on Africans, the program where we talk about our continent, Africa. Yeah, we do our best to bring you very interesting persons on this program. Today we are in The Hague, the seat of the Dutch government. And we found a very wonderful woman, vibrant, engaged in a lot of activities. Yeah, she's one of the most interesting personalities we have on the show. I think you will agree with me when she starts to tell us her story. Let me welcome Debritu to Focus on Africans. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, and thank you for coming.
Thank you very much for accepting our invitation to be on this program. We start by asking our guests to introduce themselves. Who is Debritu?
Yeah. My name is Debritu Mogesse, and I'm an Ethiopian person.
Yeah.
So do you want me to do?
Yeah, you can. What does Debritu mean?
Debritu means in Amharic.
Yeah.
Debir, it's a place where it is peaceful.
So you're a peaceful person.
Like a retreat place.
Okay.
But I heard that recently in Oromo language, in another language from Ethiopia,
Yeah.
that it means also something which passes.
Oh, something passes.
Yeah.
And then Mogesse?
Mogesse, it means oral.
Oral, okay. Oh, you have very interesting name then.
Yeah, in Ethiopian names have always
meanings. Okay.
Meanings.
Oh, okay, then it's good.
Yeah.
Which part of Ethiopia were you born?
I'm from the city. I'm a city girl.
We're talking Addis Ababa.
Addis
Really?
Ababa. And really the center of Addis Ababa.
You were born in the center of Addis Ababa?
I am born 5 generations.
What does that, for the benefit of our viewers, what does Addis Ababa mean?
Addis Ababa means new flower.
New flower.
Addis means new.
Ababa means flower. Okay, interesting. What was Addis Ababa like when you were growing up?
It was a very small city with...
Small?
Yes, by that time.
Okay.
You know, I am born in 62, so if I remember well, but that time Addis Ababa had 500,000 inhabitants.
Okay. And now?
5 million.
So the big increase now.
Yeah, big increase.
No.
So when I was in Addis Ababa, it was a very peaceful city. My memories from
the 60s.
And
what are some of the things you remember?
Between 60s and 70s, when I was about 10 years old, for example. It was a very peaceful city.
Lovely?
Very lovely city.
Okay.
And you were feeling that, it was a very secured place.
Okay.
And of course, we had another time later on. 74 was a dramatic change.
Yeah, the revolution and all those.
Okay. And that is not a very nice memory.
Okay. Yeah, when you go back to Addis Ababa today, what are the things you miss from your youth when you are growing up? What are the differences you see, and what are some of the things you remember with fondness?
Addis Ababa has changed
dramatically.
Yeah, very much.
For better or for worse?
I don't know if it is for better or it's different. It's completely different. It's another city.
Really?
Even the place where I'm born is now it's not existing.
It has been torn down.
Yes, because there are
development.
Buildings, development. Yeah, this is a development result. Yeah.
So it's not recognizable to you.
Of course, I recognize everything because I'm going every time. Almost every 2 months. So I am following the change.
How regularly do you go to Ethiopia?
Very, very often. I'm one of the lucky person that...
You go very often?
Yes.
Yeah, for many Africans, especially those in the diaspora, Ethiopia evokes a sort of exotic feelings. How do you feel when you meet people and they talk about Ethiopia to you with fondness, especially the Rastafarians? How do you feel as an Ethiopian?
As an Ethiopian, in fact, of course, when I go there, it's like that I'm going there to recharge my batteries.
Really, it's a sort of spiritual pilgrimage.
It is more because there is a big dynamics.
In Ethiopia?
It's in Addis Ababa. It's incredibly changing, really. Okay, I'm going every 2 months, so it's not changing every 2 months. But if you go every 2-3 years, then you can feel the difference. Yeah. So
things are moving.
Things are moving, and when you go often there, you feel this movement.
The dynamics.
You can feel it. Yes.
Okay, but why do you think Ethiopia has such a negative media then? Because the only thing people hear is starvation, famine, and but you talk about the positive dynamism. Why are they seeing
extremely positive dynamism?
Yeah.
The branding which have been done
the past few years
back in the 70s, 80s, Ethiopia was had big problems of drought and famine. But now it's changing. And,
for the better.
Yeah, for some things
Can you give an example?
For example, if you talk about the number of inhabitants, more than 80 million people, it's a big market. It's a big potential.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people with many ideas and many projects.
That's another something that many people are not aware of, that Ethiopia is actually the second largest country in Africa in terms of population.
In terms of population.
80 million people.
More than 80 million people. And for example, if I can talk about opportunities which are in Ethiopia, and you, in one hand, you hear about drought and famine, and in one hand, you hear about that Ethiopia is the first country with livestock.
In Africa?
In Africa, and 9th in the world.
9th?
There is something to do with
agriculture.
There is something to do. If you have this capacity, then how come we have a problem? So it's a management, it's a problem of distribution and logistic maybe. Many things to do in order to be able to use that resources.
For the benefit of our viewers who have never been to Ethiopia, what are some of the unique things about Ethiopia?
I think you should come and see it, and you should come and feel it.
Okay. So it's not something you can tell us tell us some of the things you find.
It's depending on what you are interested. You can also come, for example, as a journalist and see
what is happening.
For example, what is happening in the. I'm much more interested in the growth of the country and also the economical aspect of the country.
Okay.
So this is very interesting to follow. If you are interested in that, there are many summits which are organized now in Ethiopia. For example, in April we had the economical forum, the World Economic Forum, which was in Ethiopia.
And of course, the African Union headquarters is located there.
Yes, African Union.
And then the Rastafarians also have a place.
Rastafarians, they have a city in Ethiopia, the Shashamane. And in fact, I have seen some interviews from Rastafarians business people.
In Ethiopia?
In Ethiopia.
Oh.
Yeah.
What?
Involved in, I think I have seen one in agriculture.
Okay.
But of course, I haven't done any further research in that. But I think it could be also interesting to follow this.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk briefly about your education. What can you tell us?
So I'm.
What did you study?
Born and raised in Addis Ababa. So I've passed half of my life in Ethiopia and half in Holland.
Okay.
Yes. And this year I will really do it half-half.
You spend half in Europe, half in Ethiopia.
Yes.
Okay. Any particular reason you want to do that?
Sorry?
Any reason you want to do that? What are the reasons?
And any reason? Oh, no reason. It's the life goes on. You know?
Okay.
So I did my study in the French school in Addis Ababa.
Okay.
It was very practical for my parents to bring me to the French school because it was next my house
Okay.
near where we were living. And of course, in such school, you already begin to have international
Perspectives. Okay.
international people and international friends.
Was it an exclusive school
It is, yeah.
for
It
the
is
rich people?
Not rich people, in fact. No.
But-
Now maybe a little bit more. But before it was for people a little bit, maybe a bit clever. I found my mother clever. Because it was not very expensive, because it was funded by the French government and the Ethiopian government.
I was going to ask you why learn French in Ethiopia, because it was never a French colony.
No.
Why the
there is
emphasis?
One school.
Okay, French school.
There is one French school,
Okay.
one British school, one
Okay.
American school, one German, one Greek, and one
Really?
Italian. Yes,
And you choose French.
because it was near my home.
That's
My
good.
mother chose it because it was near my
Yeah,
home.
yeah, okay.
So by being there, of course, at the end, we went out from school with French, English, and Amharic.
Amharic.
So Amharic and English normally.
So you are fluent in 3 languages
Yes, it's a knowledge.
and 4 languages.
Yeah.
And then what happened? What did you do later?
Later on, in fact, I didn't want to go to university, so I went to work. So with a friend,
Yeah.
I went, the first job I had was at the Rwanda Embassy.
Rwanda Embassy.
Rwanda Embassy.
At where?
In Addis Ababa.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was a wonderful experience.
What did you do there?
I was, in fact, I was assisting the diplomatic staff from the Rwanda Embassy. I was doing also translation.
Oh, which comes very handy.
This comes here.
Okay.
Translation work for the ambassador as well. And later on, I went to the educational department from the French embassy,
And also in Addis Ababa.
also in Addis Ababa. And later on, I went to the ILO.
I was going to ask you, but
Labor
was there a particular reason you didn't want to go to university?
Yes and no.
You wanted to make money?
Yes and no. No, not at all. In fact, I was supposed to go to France, like my other friends.
Okay.
And that year, at the French embassy, because I had some conflict with the military government, they just cut down the number of scholarships.
Okay.
Then I thought maybe interesting to go just work.
Okay.
But I had the great to go to the Addis Ababa University.
Okay. What did you do at the International Labour Organization?
It was also same administration work.
Okay.
I was in the finance department. And later on I met my husband, a French guy from the ECA, Economical Commission
of Africa.
Yes, he was doing his service for France.
You met him in Addis Ababa?
In Addis Ababa.
Okay.
And then we get married. But all this only in 3 years.
Okay.
And then we went to France.
Okay.
Yeah. And in France I worked for the Ethiopian embassy, but for the educational department
Okay.
at the UNESCO.
Yeah, well, I'm coming to that, but coming from Africa, you got to Paris. What were your first impressions?
In fact, I have been in Paris
Before?
a year before.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were your first impression of Europe?
It was too big.
Paris was too big.
Paris was too big.
Compare with
The first
Ethiopia.
day I came to Paris, I was lost.
Ah.
So in the evening I went to sleep, and then I said, it's too much for me. It was too bright,
Too colorful,
too
too gigantic.
yeah, it was in the summer.
It was overwhelming.
Yeah, and day and night were the same. The summer till 10 o'clock it was sunny. So it was too much for me.
What
But
is?
of course later on,
Yeah.
but still I found Paris a bit big for my size. And
Don't you like it?
It's a bit too big.
You prefer
Holland, for example.
because of the size? Or?
In fact, after 2 years
Yeah.
after my arrival in Paris, 2 years later, my husband got this offer from Holland.
Okay.
He's working for he's doing satellites in Holland.
Okay.
So he came for his work in Holland,
And
and
then,
I followed. And then I said, okay, now I stopped for my side working for others. Then I work for myself. So
Now
I
you
had
started
2
your own-
kids.
you started your own company, or you?
Not yet, 2 kids.
Okay, you have to.
Yeah, because
Or you want to be a
for me-
mom?
Yeah, it's also, it's a big project.
Yeah.
Kids,
Yeah.
it's, you don't calculate it, but
But it's a big
it's an engagement.
commitment.
Commitment.
Okay.
And being a foreigner in Holland, in Europe, without your family
Oh
around,
yeah. Okay.
you have to give all
Attention
what
to
you
your
can
the
for
children.
children.
Okay.
You have to be the mom, you have to be the grandma,
To be the auntie.
the auntie, you have to be everybody.
No extended
My
family.
husband- No, my
Mm.
husband is French, so in Holland, no
No
close
family.
around us.
Okay.
So I prefer.
What was the experience like then?
It was wonderful, wonderful.
Mm.
Bringing them to the swimming school, to dance school,
Okay.
bringing them to anniversary of the friends. It's like you have to make a program for a day.
For every day
Yeah.
you have a new
Yeah.
program.
In the
Interesting.
morning, you do this and that. And
Always full.
it is a project by itself. So
Okay.
for 4 years, then I stopped working.
You
and I
devoted
raised
them to did 4 years to your children.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So I
That's
have 2 girls.
Okay.
Now Laura is 24,
Yeah.
and in fact 24 tomorrow.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's one great festival. Okay. 24 next.
Yes.
And the younger one?
And the young Leah, she is 21.
Are they both in Holland?
They are both born in Holland.
Okay.
Laura now is a lawyer.
Oh.
Yeah, she did
Law.
law school and she has 2 masters.
Wow.
Yeah, and Leah, she's third year
In the university.
student from hotel management.
Okay.
And they are extremely international, global.
The citizens, yeah. Yeah, we're going to talk about that one. Viewers, we take this short break. When we come back, we continue our discussion with Debritu Mogesse Lusteau.
Yes.
On this program, Focus on Africans, hosted by the popular Pan-African writer Femi Akomolafe, who has devoted his entire life to championing African cause. We highlight this problem and try to look for solution. Focus on Africans is a program to watch, to meet with those with passion to build a better African for ourselves and the coming generations. Focus on Africans. Together, we can build a better Africa.
Viewers, the program is focused on Africans. Today we are Debritu Mogesse Lusteau as our guest. We are talking about you are from Ethiopia, your husband is French, you live in the Netherlands. It's a bit complicated. Well, what do you think? What identity do you have?
I'm still Ethiopian, living in Holland.
Yeah, because many Africans we've spoken to on this program, they have a problem with their identity, especially the people who have stayed here for a long time. Some say they are Afropean, some say they are a lot of confusion. But you are very sure about your own identity.
I'm Ethiopian.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how does your husband, what does he
I'm born
think?
Ethiopian. I have a passport, Ethiopian passport.
No Dutch passport yet?
No, because I have a very nice living permit in Holland.
Yeah.
And
That's what.
also in France, this is only paper stuff.
But
For the identity, I'm Ethiopian.
you feel like
living
Ethiopian.
in Holland in a nice country.
That's interesting, yeah. Let's talk about your professional experience after you resume. What did you do? After the break to raise your children,
Yes.
what did you do?
Yes, and in fact, I went to Ethiopia for 2 months.
Okay.
I think my second daughter was about 3, And then
3 years.
Yeah, 3 years old. And then I thought that I have to come again to a professional, so-called professional life. Because for me, being a mother is
Also professional. People don't think of
Yes.
they don't think of it like that.
Yeah, it's for me it's a profession that you choose also to have.
Okay.
Because nowadays you choose to have it, so it's something you choose also, and it's a choice for the entire life.
Okay.
But then I thought it is interesting then also to engage myself in activities which will bring me, which will keep this connection with Ethiopia, Holland,
Okay.
even France and even other countries. So then I set up a company in Holland.
Yeah.
The first company I set up is an import company from Ethiopia. So
Okay.
I used to import Ethiopian handicraft, Ethiopian spices, and also try to brand my company. The company name is Mescal, and the company is still registered as a Chamber of Commerce in Holland.
Okay. You're still busy with
Mescal.
importing?
No, because then later on I changed activities.
Yeah.
But Mescal is still active for some branding and consultancy services.
Okay.
So what I have done is I used to import Ethiopian handicraft
Handicrafts and spices.
others, and then trying to fit also the quality of our product to
The Dutch
European
market.
market. And to do that, one of the things is also branding. Branding is
Branding
one
is
of the
important
important
things,
things
yes.
you have to do. Building a company can be done in 10 minutes. It's
But
very,
the
very
brand- the
easy. You
brand-
go to the Chamber of Commerce,
You
can
register something
you
and-
have your number,
Yeah.
you are entrepreneurs. You get out from the Chamber
Okay.
of Commerce,
But
you are entrepreneur. But then,
the branding.
then,
Did you study business management or
no.
how did you learn about branding?
I think it's also by common sense.
Okay.
Common sense can also
Good education.
a very good education. Listen to
Other people.
to some people around you, and also copying what is done,
What is successful
interesting
in the market?
in the market, but around you. But also taking good advices, because we are not having everything in one person.
And what step did you take to brand your company? What are the steps?
So I had a very many chances, in fact, in Holland.
Yeah.
I was able to perform the Ethiopian coffee ceremony. This was the means I chose to go and show the face of Ethiopia in Holland society. So I had a lot of chance. I was able to perform these activities in big, very
occasions.
big festivals.
Okay. So that helped building your brand.
Yes.
Okay.
For example, the first time I took one offer from Oxfam Novi, by that
Yeah.
time Novi. They hired me to give this Ethiopian coffee ceremony at the Festival Mondial.
Okay.
For
The
5,000
big one.
people.
Really? 5,000 people?
Yes.
That's a big occasion.
Sorry?
That's a very big occasion.
It was a very big event.
Okay.
So in Tilburg.
Yeah.
And this was a very challenging offer,
I can imagine, yeah.
because I had only three weeks to do it.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
And then, yeah. And then,
From there you pick it up.
yes. And
Okay.
then I was able to hold this for many years. Till now, in fact, coffee
Still,
activities. Still I'm performing it, yes.
Okay. Your company is performing it.
Yes.
Okay.
Later on, the other companies.
Okay.
Because now I still have Mescal, but now I have also other products,
Yeah. Like what?
like coffee.
Yeah.
There is,
We're going to talk about your coffee later.
Yes.
And then which other companies?
Sorry?
Which other companies do you have? Mostly coffee?
Later on, yep, after Mescal, in fact, I had a gallery, art gallery,
Art gallery, yeah.
Mouvement d'Art.
Yeah. Okay.
And this one located in The Hague.
Yeah, that's.
So this was, let's say, a little break between the Ethiopian activities. Yeah. So I had this activity for 3 years, 2.5, 3 years.
Okay.
And movement there, I used to sell paintings and sculptures from different countries.
Yeah, I was going to ask about your interest in the art. How did you develop it?
And the art, of course, is a little bit different than handicraft and so. But to be able to select a proper handicraft, it's nice to have also a little bit interest in art. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you promoting only Ethiopian art or art from all over the world?
No, it's art from all over the world. It's
so
also
do you have to travel around?
No, they will come to you.
Okay. You do the exhibition of the gallery.
Yes,
okay,
exactly.
the artists come to you.
Yes.
Okay.
And it was something very challenging for me because I'm not an artist. I'm not.
But you got a taste for art.
Yeah, but maybe also you can also use your what could be
imagination.
Yeah, but what could be you have a plus and minus when you do something. You can also choose your minuses to use them
positively.
Positively.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I was not from art. I am not an artist. I'm not an art.
You're not from a spicy.
I didn't do art history. So it was people were
impressed. No, yeah.
Intrigue.
How are you going to do? How are you going to manage?
How come then?
How long?
A very good platform like RT. I was also going to art fairs. I was also participating in.
So
big
it's still
art
ongoing.
fairs.
You are still you continue with it, or you stop?
No, I stopped.
Okay.
This activity, I stopped it.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you from your profile. I see that you belong to several different organizations, both professional, both how do you manage?
Of course, you have to pass from one to the other. So this is what I have done. The import of handicraft.
Still continue?
I went to the movement there with art exhibition and art lectures. So I was also able to coordinate art lectures for Historical Museum from The Hague.
Yeah.
But it was in parallel with the movement activities. So in 2000, it was in 2006. Yeah, I met a person who is very good in branding.
Okay.
And then we were talking about how to do with Ethiopian activities. Okay. And then I pick up again with my Ethiopian products.
Okay.
And then I choose to go for one product instead for several products. Then I choose to go with the coffee.
Yeah, that's very intriguing because there's this story that coffee came from Ethiopia.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So it's a long history.
Yeah, we'll keep it short.
Yeah, we will keep it short. So Ethiopia, it's one of the products which is exported widely from Ethiopia. In fact, it's the first product which
from Ethiopia.
From Ethiopia, we exported and we earned from it a lot. In one of our
But that's another well-kept secret because people associate coffee with Colombia, but not always with
it's also a problem of branding.
Yeah.
If till recently people loved coffee, eventually they know that it comes from Ethiopia. Okay. But there are very few to know that it comes from Ethiopia. And this is where we come on board. It's also to bring the coffee to the consumer with an identity attached to the identity of the coffee, of the product.
To make Ethiopia people think of it, coffee and to link it with Ethiopia.
Yes.
How successful have you been?
Luckily, the movement in the world is also on the same way.
Yeah.
Because now we would like to know from where comes all the products we are consuming.
Okay.
So this is also good for us because it's in the same movement.
Okay.
I think we are doing good because in 2007 we launched the first product, which is Malaya coffee, which is this one.
Okay.
And
Ethiopian coffee.
yeah, and we market this coffee from the origin. We say from where it comes and how it is roasted and where you can find it. So by doing that, people can trace back the coffee.
The coffee, okay.
Malaya was a very good
successful
project. It was a successful project,
okay.
but we were not able financially to launch it in a way
you wanted.
In a way we wanted.
What are the constraints? What is stopping you?
I think money.
Okay.
Investment.
You are, because doing this, you are challenging the big boys, the people who are the traditional coffee processor. So
even before arriving to challenging them, it's even to leave, to make this product known.
Yeah.
Before we challenge even the big boys, you need to reach a certain level. Them.
They are too big.
Yeah, they are too big. So for the moment, even to make this possible, we were not able. We were a small company. So then in April this year, 2012, I met a group of people. They were doing the same.
Okay.
In Holland. I'm in the Hague.
Trying to promote Ethiopian coffee?
Ethiopian coffee,
okay.
From the birthplace. And what they add on top is that they want to build a roasting factory in Ethiopia.
Okay.
Which is something interesting for me because
you can add value to it.
You can add value. Then the product cannot go only for $1, but you can add maybe €5 on top. And then you can share the profit.
Okay.
And so then, after discussion and negotiation, I hold a little bit Malaya and I join now Moye Coffee.
Okay.
And Moye Coffee has a similar value. And so of course, because they already launched the name, we were not able to have only one name.
Okay.
So I'm fully committed to Moye.
Okay.
And I invested in Moye together with other 5 people.
Okay.
So in order to be successful, you have to join hands and then to come with a very structured proposition.
So Malaya for the meantime is suspended.
Yes,
so
it is suspended.
It is Moye Coffee now.
Now I am working on
Moye Coffee. It's the same philosophy of adding value back where it is produced.
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, Malaya Coffee, we were just distributor in Holland.
Okay.
Now
with Moye?
Moye, we have the plan.
The production facilities.
But we are now busy with all the paperwork for production
in Ethiopia.
In Ethiopia.
What assistance do you get from the Ethiopian government?
The Ethiopian government give a lot of incentives, especially when you go into adding value for raw material.
Okay.
There are a lot of incentives.
Okay.
Not only the Ethiopian government, but also the Dutch government.
Really? Okay.
But you have to be able to
go
and
to fight the bureaucracy.
And also you have to know what are the incentives which
they give to you.
Accessible. Yeah.
So how long has Coffee Moye been in existence?
So it is, in fact, the name is launched recently.
Okay.
It is, I think they launched it in February.
Okay.
I joined Moye officially the 1st of June, 2012. And from June, I'm fully dedicated. I cannot say 8 hours a day.
So you are committed to more, you know?
Yes, as an entrepreneur, you have to give 20 hours a day.
More coffee. Okay. And the next question is, we have some countries in West Africa, Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Nigeria, they produce cocoa.
Yes.
And their problem is also maybe what Ethiopia is facing, that they export the raw materials, they export the coffee in raw state. What advice can you give to people in West Africa?
I think for the moment I cannot really give big advice.
Yeah, from your
But they
experience.
They have to begin like they are doing. They have to begin like thinking which strategy they have to apply, because I don't know a lot about cocos, but
it's almost the same like coffee. I mean, they export it to Europe, they get processed.
And then they get bag of chocolate.
Yeah.
Luckily, we are not at the stage for coffee.
Oh yeah,
because in Ethiopia we roast it for the local market, not for the export market. Yeah.
Excuse me. Can you tell us what the strongest selling points of coffee moye is?
Coffee moye is first an excellent coffee.
In terms of
and quality.
Okay.
It's Ethiopian coffee is by nature an Arabica coffee. Arabica is a very good coffee, very good quality coffee.
What's it different? How is it different from the other coffee?
Arabica has some flavors which are very interesting when you test the coffee, but also in terms of when you compare Arabica to Robusta, people prefer Arabica. Okay. And the Ethiopian coffee is fine.
Traditionally, what do Ethiopians do with coffee?
Very interesting. Yeah. You need 1 hour for it.
No, just okay. What do they do with coffee?
So we, in fact, coffee is a medium for many things.
Okay.
First of all, in the morning you wake up with coffee, you roast the coffee, you grind the coffee, you drink the coffee together with the neighbors and family.
Okay, so for ceremonies and...
it's a long ceremony, but it's also, socially, it is also something which we need it. It's a need for people to connect.
Okay.
And
is it medicinal?
I don't think so.
Yeah, because in West Africa we have what they call kola nuts.
Okay.
We chew also for ceremonies, but it's also very medicinal. It has medicinal properties.
I don't know, maybe because it makes us happy. So I don't know.
Okay.
No, coffee for us it's a very good medium, but even worldwide, when you want to engage in a small conversation, or when you want to meet someone, you always even worldwide, you always say, let's have a coffee. You never say, let's have a glass of water or let's have a glass of tea.
In West Africa, it's more we give water when you visit.
Yeah, you don't say, come and have a
coffee is not very popular in West Africa.
We globalize maybe our product.
Yeah, it is interesting. Okay. This is a program where we talk about Africa. When you go back to Africa and you see some aspects where we seem to be lagging behind other people, what do you think we are doing wrong?
I don't think we are doing wrong.
Like electricity is still a challenge.
But we still have to do it.
Yeah.
Still have to.
Why are we not doing it?
In our head, in our perspective, Europe is ahead of us. But is there any timeline to finish something?
That's a positive way to look at it.
Yeah. Who tell us to arrive there before this time or before that?
But you come. Okay, let's say you are in Ethiopia, and you go to you are from Addis Ababa.
Yes.
But let's say you go to the interior and you cannot get your internet, you cannot get electricity to charge your laptop. How do you feel?
But sometimes you go for it.
You go
not to be in contact, not to be.
But just in case you want to be, your people in the Netherlands want to be in contact with you.
You just phone.
Okay.
But I'm not really. Of course, I'm extremely using all these devices to contact, to connect for my business, for my family.
We have to now because we live in you have to be connected.
Yeah.
And when you face these challenges...
20 years ago we didn't have all those mobile phones and things like that, and we were happy also. Now I'm happy with a very nice Nokia phone or with a very nice Samsung phone. But 20 years ago
nobody
without it, I was also happy. So
the gadgets doesn't make you happy?
No, it makes me happy because I have a need, I have a function for it. But 20 years ago, I had other things which also give me happiness. So it's all when you say I'm behind everybody,
you see the gadgets as functional. You use them to do something. You are not going to line up to wait for the next iPad or...
No. Usually I choose for the cheaper option.
No, you see, I saw people lining up at the store. They were waiting for the next generation.
The next generation, because it's a new generation like this.
Okay.
It's a consumer generation.
But what do you think we can learn from societies like Europe?
Of course, what I found interesting to learn is more to upgrade the health sector, the education sector. But the rest, you always have time to pick up, to come closer to
the nature.
But also the new generation will catch up quickly if
they have the facilities.
Yeah, if they have the basic education, the rest will come
naturally.
Okay. And it's not because I'm lacking. I cannot have the latest Samsung or iPad, but I'm unhappy.
You feel unhappy because of okay.
No. And I hope even in Europe they are not. Yeah, of course we see it that they are waiting for this and waiting for that. But I think we have to
balance
everything.
Okay. Yeah. And you've lived in Ethiopia, you've lived in France, now you live in the Netherlands. What are some of the things you think Africans should do everything possible not to copy from Europe? What we should avoid?
Maybe mass consumption.
Mass consumption.
Mass consumption.
Why is that?
Because then we don't think, we just follow.
We should not be consumer junkies.
Yeah, but also I think it's nice to follow trend.
Yeah,
I like also the newest trousers from this and that. But I think we have to think a little bit.
How to balance it.
Yeah, how to balance it. And
use common sense.
Yeah, use common sense and also I think the mass consumption can be a bit dangerous because then you stop thinking, can you go
to consume
and quality, then you can lose quality.
Okay. How strong is the Ethiopian diaspora in the Netherlands?
In Holland?
Yeah. Do you have an association?
Yes, we have. Yes, we have several associations.
Okay.
So this, I think, maybe it's also a weakness because then you divided all the forces instead of...
Are they built on a national level or are they separated on ethnic levels?
It's not really ethnic. I think it's more, what can I say, it's more in the perception of
ego?
Politics and things like that.
Okay.
It's not really ethnic.
But do you as a group have a connection with the government at the governmental level in Ethiopia for development assistance or?
Not really as such a link directly, but I think when you are active in some field, you have to be able to open doors.
Okay.
So maybe I don't have the key now, but I'm sure I can have it when I need it.
There's a debate in, I don't know if it's also something in Ethiopia, in West Africa there's a debate that the diaspora should be recognized. Do you have that movement also in Ethiopia?
Yes, in Ethiopia, yes. Yes.
Okay.
Even in
Like in Ghana, and they want the diaspora to be able to vote
yes, yes. In Ethiopia, we are not yet
at that level.
on the vote side,
Okay.
but the government is pushing also that the diaspora should organize itself. So
Okay.
there is also a push from the government,
Okay.
but diaspora themselves also they lobby
For recognition.
Yeah, recognition, and also having some rules to be adapted to their situation.
Because they contribute a lot to the economy,
Yes,
through remittances and.
yes, remittances, but also knowledge transfer,
Okay.
and yeah.
Yeah. How big is the Ethiopian diaspora population? Do you have a figure?
In Holland?
No, global.
Globally, I don't have.
But in Holland?
The biggest diaspora is in America.
Yeah, sure.
It's very, very big.
Ethiopian diaspora?
Ethiopian diaspora.
Do you have a figure?
They talk even only for Washington. They said about 500,000.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then London, and then Germany, Italy,
Mm-hmm.
Australia, Canada, and Holland. We are talking about 10,000
In Holland?
in Holland. Yes.
That's a lot. Where are they concentrated in Holland?
Around Amsterdam, around The
Yeah,
Hague,
go.
yeah,
Okay.
Utrecht, a bit, Haarlem.
Yeah, I've been to some Ethiopian restaurant in Amsterdam, Sabra.
About 10.
She was on this program last year.
There are
Sabra.
about 10 restaurants in
Ethiopian.
Amsterdam.
Do you
Yes.
patronize them?
What
you-
do you mean?
Do you go there to Ethiopian restaurant?
I used to be their supplier for the spices.
The spices, okay.
I used to be.
And you stop
Yes, because now I'm into coffee.
to coffee?
And I have a plan to approach them all with the coffee.
With the coffee?
Yes, it's Ethiopian coffee.
Okay.
So I think it
So you have a
will be
big,
interesting.
already big market for your product.
At least I have a good market.
You've got 10 restaurants
10 restaurants in
Amsterdam alone.
Amsterdam. Yeah.
Okay.
And some, there is one in Delft, one in The Hague, one in Delft, Leiden,
Oh.
Utrecht. Yeah,
And you have connection with all of them.
I know where they are.
You can find them.
Yes.
You're a very dynamic woman. What plans do you have for the future?
For the future, a very nice factory in Addis Ababa
Okay. Nice. For coffee processing.
for coffee processing
Okay.
and a good distribution, and hopefully nice coffee corners in Holland.
Nice coffee what?
Coffee corners.
Okay. Like what the Americans are doing with
Starbucks?
Starbucks, something like that.
Starbucks, yeah.
Do you plan to sell to them or they're a competitor?
Oh, they already have connection in Ethiopia, and we
Okay,
are happy with it.
with that,
Yes,
okay,
yes,
okay.
yes, of course. They have Ethiopian coffee on their shelves and on their machines. So
Okay.
I'm not, I don't want to connect with them. I would like to have,
Franchise.
yeah, a formula,
Okay.
another kind of formula.
Okay. Not getting the franchise.
And
to
then to have the name
your own name.
quoted like
Like,
their
Starbucks.
name,
Okay.
maybe in 6-7 years.
I wish you all the best. I wish you all the best then.
Thank
Okay.
you.
And there's this organization called Fair Trade. Are you connected with them?
Yes,
Fair Trade.
yes, we are connected.
What type of connection do you have with them?
I think diplomatic connections.
Can you explain, please?
Yeah, we need to know each other. We need
Okay.
to know what they are doing, and then what we should do also to be, to complement what they are doing, because they had also a good movement when they began,
Okay.
and now
And
they
they have
are
a good
huge.
network also.
They have a good network, but this is their network.
So you have to build your own.
We have to build our own. But it's nice to know who is there in the market. Yeah,
Who the competitors are.
also.
Okay. Yeah, how many countries in Africa have you been to? I know you are very passionate about Ethiopia.
I have been very much in Ethiopia, of course, but
And
I have been also in Djibouti.
Okay.
A few years back, 2 years back, I was in Burundi.
Okay, East
Also
Africa.
coffee. I
Yeah,
visited
business.
some farmers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have been to Kenya.
Okay.
As well.
Still in East Africa?
Yeah.
When should we expect you in West Africa?
when you invite me, I come. And I was also in Tunisia.
If you are interested in cocoa, we've got a lot of cocoa.
We are very much interested.
Then,
because if there is a movement in the same way we are doing for coffee, we would like to relate to this kind of movement.
If you get Ghanaian or Nigeria or Ivorian cocoa who would like to connect with you, would they be welcome?
Yes, we would like it because we would like to have, in fact, the platform from Moyi. We would like to sell coffee, but not only coffee, we would like to sell other products with added value on it, roasted or processed in the country of origin. This is, in fact, our value.
Yeah, it is encouraging when we speak to dynamic Africans like you. It gives hope that all is not lost on our continent. And I really hope that people will take this type of interest in building their own businesses, building their own brands, instead of looking for the small money to ship things in their own states. It has been wonderful talking to you, Debritu.
Thank you.
And finally, what are your visions for Africa?
I think we are in a good track. No, sorry, it's a wrong answer. I think we are in a good track. I think. I'm, of course, I can only talk about Ethiopia because I'm not specialist for other countries. But in Ethiopia, we understood finally that to be strong in the world is to be able to take your chance yourself, to take opportunities, to represent yourself and your products in a good way, and brand your country properly, and bring to the market what is needed. You have to listen to the market, but all the movements which are in Ethiopia are very interesting to see. People are coming together to do business, so they create a corporate identity. Then you can be visible. Otherwise, if you are too small and a bit lonely,
push you down.
You remain small. But if you come together in the same sector, even competitors can be together in association. You don't have to merge your companies.
You don't have to see yourself as enemies.
No, we are not enemies because the world is large, very large. When we talk about Ethiopia, it's 80 million people. When you talk about Holland, even 60 million people. Who can supply 16 million people alone? So you have to be many to be supplier in all sectors.
Your optimism is rather infectious, Debritu. Thank you very much once again. And viewers, it has been very interesting talking with our lady from Ethiopia, Debritu Mogesse Lusteau. Yeah, the program is focused on Africans, where we do our best to discuss the situation in Africa, talk with Africans all over the world, and then bring the positive aspects about our continent. There are a lot of negative media going around, but as Debritu rightly told us, there's no reason to be pessimistic. You're on the right track. And then,
can I add one thing?
Yeah, you may add.
It is just to say, for example, we have been hosted here in the office, in the office, of course, in Holland. And we are in the office of DFD, it's for Development. It's an association which brings together African diaspora, small association. Now they have their own umbrella association, umbrella organization.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, viewers, for watching this edition of Focus on Africans. I should be very grateful to Million Bekele, who hydrologist, who helped us with the camera work today. We have to draft her, thanks to the connection of Petrico. And then we have to be grateful to the Office of Diaspora Forum for Development, also in the Hague. They allow us to use their nice office for this edition of Focus on Africans. On behalf of my wonderful crew, I say, Ireo.